Okay, just got a delivery, so I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage and get this thing going. What I have is a pipe that I'm gonna connect to my central vac. When I moved the drill press into place here, it changed the way that my dust collection is going to be set up because I don't want to connect the straight to the vacuum. I want to have a dust deputy on it. It just fills up the bags way too fast. I definitely want to have a simpler way of doing it, and I think this is ultimately going to be the simpler way. I mean, it's a little bit expensive and it's time consuming to do, but at the end of the day, I'll have one vacuum controlling all this. I've had it for so long and I've never connected it this way, and I'm really excited to do it. So this is not normal PVC pipe, right? This is this pipe specifically for vacuum systems like the central vac. So it's a thin wall PVC. It's also a low friction PVC, which is nice. So it feels totally different than normal stuff. It's actually really light. And I do have some grounding wire that I've had on my, this stuff here. I'm gonna be putting that on the pipe as well. So before I started anything, I just made sure that the pipe fit in there, and it does. This is the thing about this pipe, is it's made for these. So I just wanted to double check though. Hacksaw, or I can use my miter saw to cut that. Whatever you have. I'm gonna go ahead and use my miter saw. That's a nice cut right there. I put the vacuum on. I forgot that the stupid hose wasn't connected. Oh my God, are you kidding me? That's classic. That's why there's dust there. Oh my God. Is it Monday morning? Yes, it is. Not too effective if your hose is not connected, huh? Make sure I'm bottoming out in that coupling. So it's gonna go just like that. Man, look at that. My joiner is right in the way. Oh man, these are heavy. I put a level on this just so I can get an idea of level. Right there is level. We'll see how this is. I don't know. It might be better for me to push this thing to the wall. We'll see though. This clip I think is for the low voltage wire, and or I guess you could use it for the grounding wire, but I'm sure it's the low voltage wire clip. I'm not really sure if that should go on the top or the bottom, but I put it on the top. I made this so that it angles up slightly. So when I put the blast gate on it, it clears the wall. And so obviously if I glued this up and I needed to move something, it might be a problem, or if I wanted to add something. So I'm not gluing it, I'm just gonna let it be. Now that's gonna continue straight on, and it's gonna go all the way here and another blast gate right here. So I'll need to cut another piece, or maybe the other piece will fit. Let's see where this goes. The outlet for the Kreg is right there. See that guy right there, this black thing? And right now it's facing down. So really what I want to do is I probably need to cut that guy a little bit so that it's a little further away. Probably like right there. I'll leave that be flexible. This board I used to keep the shop vac hose from going all over the place, but it made a great hanger for the clipboards. Man, it sure would be nice if this was notched. Like I could take my jigsaw and just notch that out. That way I could have a clean bend right there. But that's going to be a real pain. I wonder if I could do it with a hole saw. If I could get a drill in there. So that would theoretically be the radius there. Yeah. Get a 2 1/4 hole saw. Okay, I don't have a 2 1/4. I have a 2 1/8, and I have a 2 9/16. 2 9/16 is a little big, but you know, it's probably better given the fact that I've got this pipe here. So my pipe's going to be a little bit away from the wall right there. So in actuality, it might actually be better to have that. That's like the edge of it going vertical up. So that's definitely a little different than going right up against there. Yeah, I'm going to use the bigger one. It'll give me a little more room. All right. This is going to get nasty. These are very hard to drill, these holes. And this guy, because I have, my angle isn't very good on it. Low speed on 1 setting. Ooh. What are we drilling into? It sounded like a screw. Oh God, yeah, there is a screw. I think I can get that though. That screw is under here. Oh man, this looks like hell. That water stained that wood. It's under here going up. I've got that piece of wood right there. I'm gonna have to break that guy. Back in the day, I used to store my clamps underneath here. So I had a piece of wood there holding that up. Hopefully I didn't screw this on. I think I just glued it. Oh yeah, 2P10. It's a nice thing about 2P10, you can always break the joints. Okay, usually you can break them. Man, I just can't get it. Oh my God. God, that sucks. It is just in such a bad spot. Let's see if I can change the angle on this thing and maybe I'll get it. Don't say a word. It was going the wrong direction. This is a cool drill if you haven't seen one or done one of these, had one of these before. I mean, check that out, right? And this is all glued on. There's no nails in this. Wow. Holy smokes. Oh my God, that is a nasty bit. Oh, that was sweet. You can see what happens is as soon as you leave the thickness of the, you know, this part here, the driver tip is in the void. So all you're doing is driving it down through the wood, through the maple with the outside. And there's nothing except for the hole itself to keep you from wandering, which the hole did a good job keeping me from wandering, but holy smokes, that was actually pretty tough. But that drill is, and that's, I mean, that's not even my big drill, but it's got some good torque and it was plenty. So, but that was quite a cut. Now I just need to clean this up with my jigsaw. All right. 20 3/4 should give me a little room. Yeah. I'm gonna make it 20 3/4. So it's going to go there. I have a mark up there, right up to my mark. 21 3/8. That's more than a 1/4 inch. Let's say 21 3/4. Now let's do 21 5/8. That'll give us a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, 21 5/8. Cut that right now. So I can push it down. Should be able to get this in. Very clean. And I decided to put it on the actual cabinet versus the wall. I figured the wall would be nice, but this is like almost completely hidden, and it secures wherever I want to secure it. I don't have to worry about finding studs or anything, and it's just so much simpler. Okay, I was all ready to build my own custom blast gates, and I was, going over the size I was going to drill them, and I was, had all of my drill bits out ready to go. And I realized that I had a blast gate back here that's 2.5. I don't know what happened, why I forgot about that, because the hose I used to connect this is the same hose I want to use for everything else. It's a 2.25 diameter hose. What I did was I grabbed this one, which is the one I had back there, and I took a look at it, and check this out. It's a little bit small. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take some duct tape and wrap it around and make it so that it's really, really tight. And once that's in there nice and tight, it'll be snug. It's not going to move. So I don't have to make my own. If you want the link, check out the description. You'll see it in there. Yeah, absolutely. And they're cheap. These things are so cheap. They're like $6. Are you kidding me? Now, I do modify them when I get them. I take off that little bump that's right here, and that bump keeps the blast gate from opening too far. See, I can remove this guy completely, and then what I do is I clip these corners. When you clip these corners, it allows you to avoid the dust buildup. That's very common in these. As you use them, you'll notice that over time, you'll get to a point where it's like, I can't close it past here, right? And then air is escaping through that hole. But if you clip those corners, I don't have that problem. To complete my installation of the pipe, I'm going to set my laser up. So my temporary holders up there did an okay job, but the reality of it is that I need to raise those guys up to the level line. I got all my blast gates delivered. The rest of my clips came today, which is cool because I couldn't do this without those. And I just have a couple more spots I want to put them in, but I've got my I've got a couple extra little things that I picked up. I actually picked this up from Rockler. I'm just going to see how this works with my setup. These particular hoses. Blast gates came And the blast gates are exactly the same as the one I have there. And as I was saying before, this actually fits the 2 1/4 hoses really well. A lot of them don't. I don't necessarily think I need that to be an available port when I've got all these other ones, but I thought, you know what, it might be nice. It's connected to that hose that's inside there, and it goes to the, my sander is going to be connected to the hose, so I can use my sander down there. I'm going to put it on a sliding table. Oh, another thing I did was I angled this guy back to the wall because I couldn't put a clamp on it to hold it, and that was really bothering me. I don't want something, to fall on the pipe and hurt it. Plus, it just looks better. And I used these two 22.5s to do that. So I had to shorten that riser there by about 3/8 of an inch because I ended up coming up a little bit more. But that looks really good. Nice and level, and that's plumb. Pretty sweet. Okay, well, let me go ahead, put some of these blast gates on. Okay, well, I took the bulk of it off with this. So what I want to do to finish off the rest is try my luck at this tool. I'm just going to use my Dremel. There might be a better cutter, but I figured this would be a pretty good option. Well, that did a great job. I have a little bit more to take off, but that's really effective, actually. Okay, when you're doing this, don't do it so that it's completely flush. Leave a little bit of the bump. So it has a positive stop, but it's so low that you can remove it still. So I can pull that out, but you can see there's a little bit of a bump there. You don't want to come into the area where the port is. So you want to be in this area. You want this to be tight enough so that it's hard to get on, but at the same time, you want to be able to remove it. Okay, nice. All right. Now this is the one where I was saying I could definitely do it like this or have a fixed pipe in there. Now if I want to use this guy, all I have to do is take this off and, not that I want to use that, but it gives me the flexibility. The line boring machine is my last one. So that last one, because it's an elbow, that can turn. So I may decide I want to glue that on there. If I need to remove it, I always could do that. But this, because every time I shut it, it potentially could move on me, swivel. I'll probably glue that. Very sweet. Well, let's fire this thing up and see what kind of suction we get. One last thing, underneath here, because of the way that everything was connected, I decided to put a elbow right in there and basically bring the pipe out so that it's closer to the front. Because what happens is I've got these connectors there for the bandsaw and the 220 volt outlet. So rather than having the pipe, come at an angle, I just went ahead and did that elbow there. So that's cool. For the Foreman, I've always used a little Festool hose, and it's a pretty small diameter outlet there, and there's an elbow, so it doesn't go straight. There's an elbow. Well, it's a little guy, and the Festool hose fitted perfectly, but they're really expensive, and just to have this little bit, since I'm not connecting it to my Festool vacuum underneath, I decided that I'm gonna use something that I've never bought before. And this is this Rockler setup where you buy basically the kit and it comes with a couple adapters to fit different size hoses, different size power tools. So this one is obviously a little bit smaller and that can fit, I'm not really sure what the maximum is, but I think it's like 1.25 inches. This one can fit a little bit larger, and actually this one fits this pretty well. And I like the fact that it goes on the outside. The Festool one went on the inside, so I always like them to go on the outside if possible. This hose is adjustable from 3 feet, I guess, but it's really heavy. It goes all the way to 12 feet. This is pretty cool though, the flexibility of it. So what I'm gonna do is cut it to the length I need. And I guess it's just wire in there, steel. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. But the nice thing about it is that I can connect this end right to the blast gate, this end to the power tool, so I create my own hose. All right, so it cuts through that, and then you get to the steel. Obviously, don't cut the steel with your metal saw there. And then what I do is take this, and it's a reverse thread, so instead of normal direction, you want to go opposite direction. Turn it to the left, counterclockwise, and there it is. So that's really cool too. They're both swivel connectors. That's really neat. Now, this guy is not tight in that hole. And this is another thing about Rockler. A lot of times their stuff, even though they say it's a 2.25 or whatever, I find their sizing's a little bit off. This guy is slightly off. It fits in there nicely, but because this blast gate is aiming down, it's wanting to come out. So in order to combat that, I'm just going to take just one layer of duct tape. There, that's good. Perfect. That is great. You can see that is nice. Okay, like most vacuums, you don't want to start them without some sort of port open, right? You don't want to starve them for air. So in this particular case, I'm always using my Kapex. So this is probably going to be the one that's open all the time. And then when I want to do something else, I can always shut it. I'm sure I could leave one open or 2 open and it will be fine. But if you start leaving 3 or 4 open, you're going to lose suction. So definitely does better than the Festool even. The reason I put a port right next to my outlet is that if I wanted to use my hose for my sanders and stuff, if I wanted for some reason to route or sand or whatever, here I could use the Festool hose and plug it in. That's really perfect. Very good. All right, this is the one I'm curious about. I'm going to open this up and I'm going to let the suction go down to the drum sander. Oh yeah, that's really good. Nice. So the suction comes from back here. And in that little area there, you can change that. It's going to give you a better dust collection down here if you don't have it such a tight space. See that? Much better. That's really nice. And that's the last thing. Okay, this is going to be really excellent. I make my panels, I drill the holes. I'll have a custom hose for this spot only, and we'll utilize it. A little while back, I had made this mount for my little C battery, Maglite. So I'm just using this as an example. If I go ahead and use one of these, which by the way might work just perfectly, I thought to myself, it would actually be nice to have a spot to hang it. So I was looking around, maybe this would work to store my hose. So in order to make this fit, I would have to make this opening bigger. This was left over from the sanding block that I made. Check out that video if you haven't seen that. I had a piece that had essentially a V-groove cut in this for a sanding block. I took my bandsaw and just cut a circle and made it fit the flashlight really well. All right, this is where my sander is going to come in handy down here. All right, I just put a bevel on that with the bandsaw just so it wasn't square. The hose kind of sits down and kind of falls back. All right, that's really good. All right, this is just one of those times that I'm going to go ahead and use this as my sanding spot. This is why I love this port next to my outlet. I can just take my cord and my hose, plug it in. The only difference is I have to tell it that it's on. Okay, this is the leftover hose from the Craig Foreman. I cut that piece, but check this out. So this is a little longer. Actually comes all the way, actually goes all the way out here. I can clean up the bandsaw. All right, this is fantastic. Well, as you can see, it was phenomenal. And that little bit of cutting on the bandsaw created quite a mess. And I don't think you've actually seen me use the bandsaw after I tuned it up and got it all, you know, I bought it for next to nothing. I got it all tuned up. It's got a wood slicer blade on it. It's a resaw blade. I need to switch it out. But this hose is really neat. It actually does a really good job of staying flexible, so it's not real rigid. And I was concerned because of the articulation, because how close the blast gate was. I didn't know for sure how I was going to like that. The other hose came up from here, and you remember it was just a normal everyday hose, shop vac hose, but it was really long. This particular hose, as you can see, it's very flexible, and that is really cool. So as I come all the way around, you can see, and this is nothing. I mean, it can get real long. So I'm pretty stoked. Okay, after I ran all the duct work, I actually took the time to ground it using my copper wire that I had from my other hose. So I basically went along the whole length and used these clips to hold the wire. And then in certain areas, I wrapped it. This may not be necessary, but I had the wire and it's certainly not going to hurt anything to do it. So I've got, you know, it's wrapped up everywhere, the whole length. And then it comes down here and I just wrapped it at the end a few times and that is it. Hopefully you're enjoying these updates to the shop and let me know what you'd like to see next. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.